everyone, it's Neenah. Thanks for joining me today for a new tutorial. Today I'm going to be featuring some new Simon Says STAMPtember 2019 products. I've got some stamps and dies as well as some sequins too. However, today's card is going to show you how I'm going to fix a mistake I ended up making during the process of creating the card. I had an idea in mind and it turns out the idea didn't work so well. But I didn't want to lose all of the work that I had already put into this card. So I want to show you how I took the pieces that I already had going for this card and altered them to create an alternative design that still looks awesome. So let's get started on the card. At first I was going to do some foiling and some watercoloring over top. That looked beautiful. However, later on, the rest of the card didn't turn out so well. But I'll show you what I did during the beginning part of the process of the card so that if you wanted to recreate this as well, you could. I put the new sunflower stem die into my Gemini foil press machine and let it heat up, then placed a piece of foil and a piece of white watercolor paper on top of that die. I ran that through my Gemini Junior, and of course that transferred the foil and created that beautiful sunflower design on my paper. At this point, I was ready to add some color, and I wanted to create a watercolor wash over top of the sunflower in a very loose and messy style. The foil resisted the watercolor, which I knew it would do that, and I love the beautiful shine that it gives through the watercolor. This was turning out really awesome, and I was really pleased with the look I was getting because I wanted a more loose style of color with some really beautiful foil peeking through the watercoloring. So I was very quick and simple to add those colors over top. It was very loose and free, and then I let it dry. Meanwhile, I brought in a piece of white cardstock and the outline die of the sunflower stem set, and I'm going to cut that from some white Simon Says stamp paper, and I'll put a little bit of Gina K dot runner on the back side of that panel and attach this onto a piece of acetate. This is going to create the window of my shaker. My idea was to create a really pretty shaker over top of the sunflower. So I put 2 layers of foam tape on the back side of the acetate so that I could create a well for the sequins. The sequins are some of these beautiful new sequins from Simon Says Stamp, and I even brought in some of their previously released fresh cut sequins. I mixed those in to create a little bit of a green, gold, and red tone. This really looked beautiful with the sunflower colors. To sandwich those sequins in, I then put another piece of acetate over top of that, creating a super smooth and easy to shake shaker. However, this is where things went wrong. I realized as I attached this down that I had way too many sequins in here. It was making me lose all of that beautiful delicate foil that was underneath all that watercolor. And at this point, I really wasn't happy with how the card was looking. However, I wasn't going to give up. I brought in that same sunflower stem die and I cut it from some copper mined mirror cardstock from Tonic Studios and 3 times from white cardstock. This will allow me to create a dimensional embellishment that I can add back over top of that foiling that you see through the shaker. Now, this isn't going to give it quite the same look that it was going to have with the foil through the watercolor and the shaker. That had a really elegant and beautiful effect. This has a little bit more of a bolder effect because the foil is going to be the mirror cardstock, and so we've got that nice solid sunflower shape instead of the beautiful foiled outlines of the sunflower, because when we foil with a die, the foil transfers only to the raised die cut lines of your die, so you're not going to get that full solid effect. However, I still think the card turned out really good. And I used a sentiment, by the way, from the new Birthday Word Mix stamp set, which coordinates with the Word Mix die set that was previously released in Simon Says Stamp's July collection. And this die works great with not only the thanks and encouragement word mix stamp set, but it also works great with the birthday mix. So I stamped those greetings with some embossing ink and white heat embossed them for a really beautiful crisp effect over top of some raspberry cardstock. So like I said, I'll cut those out with the coordinating dies. Now you'll notice, by the way, when I line these dies up, this is all one big die. And this lines up perfectly over top of your sentiments that you stamped. So you get this perfect die cut greeting every single time. Really handy, and it cuts out a lot all at once, so you have a lot of greetings on hand that you can save for future projects. Here's where I attached that greeting, and I sprinkled a few more sequins around the sunflower. So while this card may be completely different than how I intended it to be when I first started, don't get me wrong, it's still awesome. And I was thrilled to death that I could still finish up this card and use the work that I had already put into it to finish up another card design that still has a beautiful and fun effect. I really love that shaker behind this sunflower stem, and the loose watercoloring looks really beautiful behind that copper foil paper. I hope that today's card inspires you to keep on going with your projects even when you think they're not going so well. Keep trying. I know there's always a way that you can salvage a project to make it look awesome. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to stop by my blog for more inspiration and details on the new Simon Says Stamp STAMPtember release. I will be back again very soon with more to share, but until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye!